on the planet. New year, not new us.
No,
Same
us. Yeah.
Realty Talk. We are officially the favorite podcast on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't think Apple or Spotify says that yet.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed.
In the rankings, yes.
Yeah.
Is that an opportunity to trademark it now?
Yes.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it, yeah.
So we're officially in the year of 2026. We're super excited to be back. We have some great guests. Some very exciting guests.
Yes. We're really excited because, well, first of all, so we have Paul Fix It All Hansen.
Yes.
Wait, what happened to DoubleClick?
See? Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys like more? We're
I
Fix It
Paul
All.
double click it all. What we did here is it's the all part because now all can go with anything. So it's like technically we can make this anything now as long as we put all
Got it.
at the end. It just sounds right. So yeah. But
I think we would vote for Fix It All.
What do you
okay.
prefer?
See? I felt like,
I could go with either. I've said it on multiple podcasts. We read this book. I read this book to my daughter. It's a Peppa Pig book, and it's like, Daddy Pig can fix it all. And the whole book is like, fix it all. So when she said that the first time, I'm like, oh my gosh. I get PTSD from reading this book. So and it makes me feel like I'm a Daddy Pig in Peppa Pig.
That's all right.
But no, I could go with either.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Well,
And to my right, we have the queen of the closing table.
that would be me. Yes. Do you guys have nicknames, or are we just going in here? So we have Tammy and Branden here with the Echo Group, who recently joined Innovate Realty. So we're very excited to dive in
Yes,
Yep.
and
we're
hear
super
all about
excited.
you guys and your business and how you got here. But I think we have to start with nicknames. Do you guys?
Well, I think my nickname over the year has been Velvet Hammer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Velvet Hammer.
So
I like
I
that,
like
and I
it.
could
I
see
like
that.
that.
I could see it. Yeah.
We've always been good at the good cop, bad cop thing.
Yeah.
We compliment each other there. So the Velvet Hammer fits you pretty well.
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
idea. I have numerous nicknames.
yeah.
What?
Which one do you want to talk about today?
The cleanest, we said, or
I think it's just been the hammer. She's got the velvet side, and I'm been the hammer.
Really?
okay. All
I
right.
like
So
it
this
in-
sounds like bad cop from what you guys are saying. It's
Well,
like-
could be considered that, just
No.
in different ways.
no, Tammy's very.
Yeah.
So I had the pleasure of working with Tammy on a transaction.
We did.
And yes, very. I like Velvet Hammer. Like
You think
you
that
are
fits?
you are gonna hold your ground. You're gonna. Be stern and firm, but you say it in a really soft way.
You can ask
that
nicely to get what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
So
that's why you're successful. I feel the
you.
same
And
way.
you just
I'm high D. I just tell me the story, or get to the point, let me move on to the next, and that's probably why.
got it.
So I'm like CC'd in a lot of the emails,
Yeah.
and it's probably a good thing that I'm not chiming in. And if I have to chime in, there's probably a reason, and I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's a problem. It's just sometimes it can be misconstrued because I'm to the point that
Yeah.
sometimes I'm a little harsh or
Yeah.
I come
Sure.
off the wrong way, but I love everybody.
So the hammer and the velvet hammer, I like it. We've got Paul Fix It All, the queen of the closing table, and the hammer and the velvet hammer.
Yeah,
It feels right. It
I know,
feels
like, who are you doing business with out there?
I like it.
I raised two girls, and when they got to the dating age, it was, very subtle ways of how I would let whoever they were interested in know that I don't mind going back to prison,
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
take care of your girls.
Yeah.
So the hammer was very appropriate then.
Yeah.
But all the kids' friends call me Pops.
Pops.
It's not.
Which means they respect you.
Exactly.
I think that's
Very
okay.
much
Nice.
so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I have two little girls, and I am going to make their first date sign a shotgun shell
There you go.
that says
I love it.
she will be home by 10 or 9 or whatever the curfew is.
Yeah.
And if not, this is coming for you.
How old are the girls?
Exactly.
5 and 3.
Yeah, you got
Got
a
lot of
minute.
time. He's
got a
gonna mellow out by
you
then.
had
It's-
babies.
I don't know. I'm very protective.
It's not easy, really. Fortunately, they had two great stepbrothers that helped and kept an eye on things. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be protective, I think.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, so
Well, we are going to dive in. So usually we talk through a quick market update. And then we really want to jump in and we'd like your opinion on the market, but we also want to hear about your business, how you started. So we'll get to that. But I think we should talk market to start because
Let's do
it's
it.
beginning of the year. So I know rates are at a low. I think it's a 18-month low, I believe.
Yep.
So, there's a lot happening already,
Yep.
kicking off the year in a interesting way. But I think, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but we definitely feel like there's some buyer excitement. There's a feeling out there that, rates are coming down and may continue to come down, and we're seeing buyers get a little bit more excited.
Yeah, I think the data points, I don't have the exact figures, but in 2025, just over 4 million total homes were sold in the United States, right? And the 20-year average is north of 5.5. And so we see a ton of disparity in the total number of transactions. Another interesting data point that I just saw yesterday is that national home builders, you assess the value of their stock based on the amount of times their inventory turns. And then that usually equates to some multiple of equity, and
Right.
so, the big ones have crept up from 1 time to 1.13 and from 1.5 up to 2. I'm not going to say names, but, which indicates that these, national builders are producing a lot of inventory and it's not moving as quickly as they would like. A year ago, we had this conversation and we were saying that national builders were crushing it because they had, pre-negotiated lower interest rates. So they would go out into the public markets and say, okay, I'm going to sell or $500 million worth of inventory this year. I'll back the mortgages and we'll buy it down to 3% when rates were at 7%. And so, being a single, seller like Buy House or an individual, it's really tough to compete if your buyer's coming in at 7 and a national builder has inventory that's trading at 3.5 or 4.5 or something like that. Really difficult to compete.
It's where they're going, yeah.
But now what we're seeing is, that inventory is taking longer, and so they're starting to pause new development, a little bit, and there's some new greenfield stuff that's taking longer to get tied up, and which to me is a really good sign for infill in 2026. But yeah, I mean, the only other data point I have is that we kept one property on market through the holiday season, and coming the new year in Southern California, if you don't live here, it was very rainy.
Yeah, which is a big deal here, you know.
It is.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks of
Everything
rain.
stops.
Normally during a rainy open house, it's very quiet, even on a new listing. And we had like 30 or 40% more traffic at our open house than we'd had previously, even on a rainy day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's a good sign.
That's good. Yeah.
I think people are ready.
yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. What are you guys feeling?
Tammy, what do you think?
I think this year is going to be a really solid year. I'm excited about it. I think there's a lot of momentum.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And how long have you guys been in the industry for our listeners?
Oh my goodness.
Since before recording was a thing.
So I got my license in 1996.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you've seen a few markets
I've seen a few
turn and
markets.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yeah, I started in 1993
Cool.
in a little town in Arizona called Lake Havasu City, where it was okay to put your clients in the car and you had a cooler full of Coors Light and Bartles and James, and that's what you did, and that's how you showed property and you put deals together.
Wait,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Do I wish those times would come back? Absolutely.
Wait, are you saying you can't have an open beer?
Well, I just can't get caught now.
Paul's like, I do
Yeah.
that all
Yeah.
the time. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that's how do we deal with our clients otherwise, right? That's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been in the business for a little while, and we've definitely seen some changes. It's real interesting to see it evolve. To be honest with you, just like the talking point, what are we thinking and what are we feeling? And I think that's the biggest thing I've seen change the most is that information is so readily available, and so back to how our buyers and sellers feeling, and it's almost like what it depends on who they're following and who they're paying
exactly.
attention to.
What you put out there and what they're
Right?
consuming. Yeah, we
Who
talk
are they
about that all
listening
the
to?
time. Yeah.
Yeah, the data doesn't show the emotion, right? So, like interest rates. Interest rates are something you should pay attention to, right? For a
Yeah.
lot of different reasons, but that's not. We don't feel that really slows things down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're working with a buyer that is constantly bringing up interest rate, the way I look at that is they just haven't fallen in love with the house they want yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think when they find a house they want, they try and find a way to get it regardless of the rate.
I could not agree more. I had a client on an $8 million property that, when I first met him, he was basically like, I'm looking maybe sometime next year, and in my head, I'm like, perfect. I will just keep showing him properties. So kept showing him properties. We found the one he loved. The reason why he was saying next year is because financially he wasn't necessarily ready. But his wife fell in love with the house. That's what they were going to do. He sold a GT4. He sold, 3 different cars, and he made it happen. And,
Exactly.
that was all within, I would say, 2 months that,
Right.
I had shown him properties, and he pulled the trigger. But it's really just a matter of, I could not agree more. If they want it, they're going to move on that property. You just have to find the right one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's one of the little things we've learned to do is to ask people, when it comes to real estate, who do you pay attention to, right? Because there's a drastic difference from a Grant Cardone and a Dave Ramsey, right? As far as perspective of what somebody should or shouldn't do, and it changes. And
Yeah, it gives you an idea of where their mindset is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I haven't thought about that. I guess maybe necessarily asking that. I think I organically see it, because of social media, and I can kind of identify like, oh, okay, what are they consuming and what is their style? But yeah, that's a really great way to kind of understand where their mindset is. Yeah.
Brandon's really good at that.
Yeah.
Asking those questions,
Yeah.
info gather.
And I think it used to be like a sales tactic, but I genuinely am curious now what people are learning and why they're doing what they're doing. And I think it's the same. Love doing open houses because I genuinely want that feedback from people, right? But I think you have to be more than a host. And I think Tammy and I really like to just talk to people. And I think at the end of the day, for the seller, for anyone involved, I think the more information you get to gather from people, the better it helps us all, right, with our jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really how you keep a pulse on things,
Right.
Exactly.
Sure.
If you're not out there talking to the buyers and sellers that are out there, then, you're really just guessing.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So,
And
yeah.
the feedback we're giving you guys on your listings is not accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you're summing up is it's kind of it's between a level of understanding and sales training, like you're talking about. I mean, one of my favorite books on the planet is question-based selling, related to training and selling and developing things. But it's a consultative process where you're understanding somebody's wants, desires, and needs, and then your role is to be a consultant to help solve those problems. And the byproduct of that is that a consumer trusts you and they understand the proposition of the value. And when we train internal salespeople at Buy My House or Innovate, we all a lot of times talk about, a customer's perceived value of whatever they're going to buy.
Right.
And I usually give the example of like something simple like food. If you're checking out at the supermarket and you look to your right and there's a Snickers, you don't usually look at the price. You either want it and you already understand that the taste of the peanuts and the caramel and the chocolate are going to outweigh whatever the cost is. So the perception is already there and you felt it. And so you just take it.
Yep.
Very rarely does someone go, oh, it's 99 cents today, so I'm going to buy one. Like the price doesn't actually dictate their decision to make the purchase.
Right.
Another example is if you're driving down the road and you just had lunch and Chipotle's on the right, why don't you stop? Because the burrito bowl is a really great value. It's $9. There's chicken and rice and beans, and it's really, really good and nourishing. You don't stop because you don't have the need. But if you're hungry, I don't even question it. I just pull in, and that's where I go.
Yeah.
I don't look around to see what else is there. So my perceived value
Yep.
for the cost, the value outweighs the cost, and it's a very simple decision. So to your point, in a relationship, it's really difficult because you have, if there's a husband-wife or husband-husband, wife-wife, whatever, if one of those parties absolutely falls in love, 90% of the time, they're going to find a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And so asking questions is really the only way to get to a place where you can understand what those wants, desires, needs are. And that timeline of, it might be a year, is irrelevant. So if you're a real estate agent out there saying, this buyer came in, it's a new lead, and they say they want to buy in a year, and I'm not going to touch it until that time comes up, you're making a critical mistake because they're also maybe saying that as just from like a place of defense. Like, naturally, we always say no to purchasing new things until we have to say yes.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really good point. Like, if you have a lead with somebody that shows any interest at all, dig in, ask a ton of questions. It sounds like you guys will take tons of time to understand
I think the key to what you both said is the word trust. And I don't know that you can build as much trust to get the right answers when you meet someone for the first time. I think you have to be patient enough to work. So if I go back in time to when I didn't have a cell phone and we didn't have the internet.
And you just had the beers in the car.
I had the beers in the car.
I trust you. I trust you.
Instant trust.
The process was, and this ties into what you were saying, Paul, the process was the buyer knew they needed to get in the car because I had the key to go get him in the house.
Right.
And during that ride was the opportunity to build trust and rapport. So that when you get to the place to start talking about their money and business questions, it's a little easier for them to give you that. Where today, they're genuinely not going to talk to a real estate agent first. They're doing research online. So they are seeing the price first. They are seeing those things first. And then how can we help them fall in love with the home so that price, it's not that it's not important, but it's not as important, or it's not the biggest objection that they give you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the other piece too, which is changing rapidly, I mean, we talk about it all the time on our marketing. I mean, when we list something, we have 50 photos and a video walkthrough, and there might be even like a unique website for the house with video and aerial imaging and all that stuff. And so by the time somebody gets to a property, they already kind of know what it is and what they like and what they don't like about it.
That's if
Exactly.
the listing agent did a good job
out
of the gate. Because it is. Real estate is very much like
it's the wild, wild west.
eHarmony and Tinder. It is. It's if you're looking for a property, you're looking at the picture first, and then you might read the description, before you typically do anything, right?
Yeah.
And so it is a little.
What is that called?
Different.
Being catfished?
Yeah.
Catfish. Yes.
You see all these beautiful photos, and you get to the house, and you're like, oh.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, again, back to the open houses, is you just get to experience so much more.
Well, I like to
it's
get to the point with, somebody that you could try to figure out what stresses them out. Because if you can get to the stress level, then you can really tackle what's holding them back.
Yeah, I mean, there's this. I know Zillow used to talk about it all the time, and I'm probably going to butcher the stat, but basically the summary is that the average person is more stressed out buying a home, feels that is more stressful than going through a divorce.
Right, totally.
And like some even said death. It's really, really difficult for a buyer and seller. They feel that it is super stressful, and it if you can kind of get to the bottom of what those stresses are and address them in the beginning, and kind of table some of that, it really does provide for a better experience. And I think, we talk about it all the time because training is so important. I know you have a training platform. We push that as well. It's when I say the industry is the wild, wild west, I think we know, not all agents are trained and created equally. Like
there's two
it's
levels.
just the industry,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
the way our industry works. And
Yeah.
so we're really passionate about trying to solve for that because it's such a shame because really, you know, the experience can vary so much between agent to agent.
And being aligned,
Without a
which
doubt.
is one of the reasons we're joining this lovely company.
Yeah, it's
So,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, being able to be aligned and share those same visions and understandings, I think helps, right?
Yeah.
Immensely. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so I want to hear more about you guys. So, been in the industry forever, basically.
Yes. Long time.
We
But
look good for
let's-
70, don't we?
But so let's talk about why real estate because I think you know that's everyone has their you know their reason and I think what's really unique with the two of you is you guys, although you are partners and you work together, you also kind of focus on different aspects of the business. So I'd like to hear a little bit
Yeah,
about
we
that.
actually really like to do the exact opposite, which makes us great partners.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I got into the business almost 30 years ago in November, it'll be. So I just immediately fell in love with it. And, you know, I personally just really like traditional residential real estate, helping, you know, the sellers and the buyers, which is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's like where my true passion, I like the deal.
Yeah.
I like the deal, the transaction, you know, helping the seller that's been there for 50 years, you know, move on, their families move on with the property and, you know, get it ready for the next family. I really like the remodel process and the design and all of that. And then
But you started, and when we met, you were very heavily into the
Oh,
REO
gosh.
side of things.
yes,
was gonna
my
ask-
early career was very different.
So, but before you got into real estate, what made you decide to take that step? Like,
So look, I grew up on the East Coast, lived in Pittsburgh, then Maryland, then New York, and then came here. And I literally just kind of like fell into it.
really?
Fell into it.
That's
Fell into it.
so many stories we hear. It's,
It just happened.
It happened,
Yeah.
and here I am.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
So, but I did start heavy in the REO industry. Yeah, I was working on a team that was doing 30 deals a month.
Oh wow.
So I was really transacting a lot. I think that the workload was really heavy.
Yeah.
You know, working on really not so good products.
Well, and it wasn't just that. You have so many other responsibilities in that space with just like utilities and evictions and
Yeah.
people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, going through foreclosure is not a fun or easy thing. Right?
Yeah.
No, I had to go to represent the banks at the courthouse for
Yeah.
evictions and all of that, right? Sheriff lockouts and
So you're the bad person, right?
Yeah.
that velvet hammer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't velvet when I met her.
Yeah.
No, just the hammer.
It's just a hammer.
So that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah.
That's probably a
then
really
it
good
evolved.
foundation. though,
Yeah.
because
That's
it's
how you
exactly-
learn so
Yes.
much, you know?
I learned so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
from that lens.
Yeah, I think the transactions help you learn. There's that training, that book smart kind of stuff that you need to know, but until you get your feet wet.
Yeah.
I was thrown into the fire for sure.
Yeah.
So how long were you doing REO work before you transitioned to traditional buyer-seller activity?
I don't know. I was doing REO like well into after we
2012,
met in
2013.
08, 09, right? So
Yeah.
then we started getting into the remodel stuff, 2014? Heavy into
Well,
that?
no, we were doing it with the banks because
Well,
the banks
right,
were
of
kind of doing
course,
their
but
own
Cleaning
renovations.
stuff up.
lipstick on a pig approach, but
Yep.
they were doing it.
Yep.
So
Post 2009.
Yes.
yes,
So they have, at that point in time, they have gobs of inventory on balance. So they're just trying to unload any way they can.
Yes.
yeah, it was a mess. I think a lot of people don't really understand
It was brutal.
how a securitized trust works, and you know all that whole dynamic of why does it take so long, and so you know when you're dealing with corporate or you're dealing with people that, I mean, we were dealing with tons of people that, you're just a number to them. There's no relationship whatsoever.
Yeah.
They didn't really care about the person getting foreclosed on or the investor buying it or any of that. It was just how can we move these numbers around?
Right.
Yeah. And it was
So,
hard.
but my career was definitely, in my beginning, it was very different than his, right? So
Yeah.
tell your story.
My story. Yeah. So, ironically, I fell into it as well. It just, I had been self-employed, and it was tough. It was a retail business, 20, 30% maybe profit, ton of inventory on net 30, net 6. And I was 22 years old going, wow, what the heck did I got myself into, right? But I fell into real estate, and I think I'm very blessed to have started where I started in Arizona, because Arizona was a pro-growth state. So we had a lot of activity between Southern California, people wanting to come during the summer months and snowbirds that wanted to come during the winter months. And Lake Havasu City is a unique town in how it was built and developed. So they, in the late 60s, literally mapped out and approved 24,000 residential lots, 3 golf courses, airport. They did all this in the 60s without hardly building anything.
So just
So when I got into real estate, it was homes that had been built in the 70s, but a lot of new construction primarily. So I learned not how to just sell general real estate, but I got to understand the development side, and then did really well there. And then I ended up around 1999, so just before the .com trend. I became the senior vice president for a company called Nationwide Homes, and they were a land developer. So instead of a contractor who would help you find a lot and build on it for your person, now we're buying 1 mile square, 360 acres of land and turning it into a 400 home community. So at the peak, 2005, we had 17 new home communities and 250 houses under construction. So you went from 5 to 12 transactions a year to a lot. And I learned so much from that perspective.
Yeah.
But there were still limitations. And then I ended up moving to LA in 2009. And Tammy and I met. And
How'd you guys meet?
Oh, gosh.
in my car with Coors Light and bottles of James.
Got it. Full circle.
I was still driving around with that in my car. We actually met at a bar.
cool.
She was on a blind date.
And it wasn't you.
And it wasn't me, but I saved her ass.
Oh, nice.
Saved her
Okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, bar in El Segundo, the Purple Orchid.
The Purple Orchid, give a shout
still
out.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
I
so
gotta
cool.
stop
That's
for
a
a drink.
great
Yeah.
story.
I was like,
Yeah.
the guy that I was supposed to meet, no, but Brandon was his
He
sidekick.
showed up.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
he was there.
Got
He
it.
talked me into going because I really wasn't interested in going out.
The blind date did.
I was renting.
So wait,
from
did you
him.
have a friend too, or you
Yes,
just?
I was out with my
Okay.
girlfriend.
Oh, okay, so it was
I'm
a
like,
double
wait,
date.
I
did
was
you
supposed to
have-
meet this guy.
No, it wasn't
Yeah.
a double date. I just got talked into going.
Got it.
I
Got
had
it,
no. I wasn't there to meet anyone.
Got it.
She was there to meet this particular person with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
Got it.
And he talked me into being his wingman, and I decided to go. And I was so, this guy was so cheeseball and so rude. And I was just looking at her going, do you want some help? Can I come
Oh God.
He
Yeah,
saved
anyway.
me.
Yeah.
And
Have we
here we
got
are.
him, have we
And
gotten
here we
this
are.
gentleman banned from the Blue Orchid? The Purple Orchid.
Purple Orchid.
Purple Orchid?
Purple Orchid.
Yeah.
Do
well,
we
he
know
and I
where
aren't friends
he is
anymore.
today?
Well, obviously.
he thinks I took his girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It ended
Yeah. Oh,
before
yeah.
it began. It sounds
Yeah.
like.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Okay, and
great.
so here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
She can't
What,
shake me.
16 years later? I don't know. something
Okay,
like
so
that.
you said you like to focus on traditional real estate, while Brandon, you're kind of the opposite of the spectrum. So
I apologize. I was going to take a break.
All good.
perfect timing.
I don't know that it's that. I think when we were working with so many institutional, not just the sellers, the lenders that
Yeah.
did the foreclosure, but we met a lot of investors. So it was really a culmination of having these REO listings, knowing that the most likely buyer was going to be an investor.
Sure.
as the market started to transition into short sale, because we weren't doing as many foreclosures, we were trying to prevent them. We got into more of the short sale side of it. Well, I think it kind of hardened me to a certain degree, where I liked the analytical part of it more than the emotional part of it. And I think that's what Tammy was saying earlier, why we complement each other really well is she's really good at that. And I'm not necessarily, I can get my girls on the phone, they'll tell you the same thing. So I think it transitioned into, we also were trying to, like, how can you scale? How are we going to put 4 kids through college? How are we going to do some of these things? And, you know, back then we're talking $300,000-$400,000 price point. We're not talking the price point we have today. And it's like any other agent trying to build their business, it is a mathematical equation. If you want to make X amount of dollars, then what does that equate to? How many deals? Yeah. And so we started to just, I think, realize that there was this niche opportunity to work specifically with the investor side of it. And if I asked 100 investors, tell me one thing you love and one thing you hate about real estate agents, there's a common theme. Yeah. And the common theme was most real estate agents don't understand their business. Right. They see a property, they think it's a deal, but it's not really a deal. And so what we did was we decided to grow a team. We were at Keller Williams, and they were very proactive in that model. Right. And so that was attractive to us, and we were willing to go out of the area. Like, we lived in Redondo Beach, and people thought Long Beach was too far away. But for us, we want to put deals together. Yeah. So we were as far as Thousand Oaks down to, San Dimas or whatever, just to make a living. Yeah. And so we grew that into 85 to 110 transactions a year. That's awesome. Predominantly remodeled. We don't use the word flip. Yeah. Because we think that has a negative connotation, right? Yep. But what an amazing opportunity to not just help an investor with his business, watch a property go through a complete new transition, which it needed to, right? Yeah. Roof, windows, doors, some of these properties were built in the 20s, 30s, 50s. There's just a lot of deferred maintenance. It's a great marriage, right? And then we get the listing back, and it's all pretty, and it's staged, and we can meet the neighbors, and we can meet buyers, and we just fell in love with that.
Yeah, we learned to feed our own pipeline.
That's
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, that's what's so great about kind of all of this coming together, because, what you guys are saying is exactly what we do at our brokerage and with Bye Bye House, and what we are teaching our agents. Because I think one of the biggest things I've noticed, especially with agents that, we had interest rates that were unbelievable, right?
Sure.
So
free money.
Literally every agent was killing it,
right.
Exactly. And but when that went away, I think we saw a lot of agents that were kind of like, what do we do now? Where it just wasn't the same. It was a completely different situation. Not to say it was super easy, because you were also competing against 40 offers. So it was a different type of a fight. But we've seen agents kind of look to us as, they are really dependent on leads, or for us to kind of, bring them through that transition. And while, yes, we provide leads, and I think, we always will to some degree, because just the nature of things, I think, it's really important for an agent to reflect and to say, okay, what can I do? We just got through of our business planning workshops, and you really do have to back out, what the way you're going to make your living, and how you're going to go about that. And so, we have really pushed and kind of coached our agents to go that route, because we want them to be self-sufficient, to be able to, know what income they're going to have coming in, just because they know that the effort that they're putting out is going to get them the results that they're looking for. So we're huge advocates of that. And so meeting you guys, and knowing, you guys have already been doing that, and we're, constantly talking about it. It just felt right
for
100%. All of us to come together. But with that, I mean, I think on that note, one of the reasons that agents kind of struggle a bit, I would say, to get there, to get to the place where you guys have kind of come to, is the investor process is different, and it is really a numbers game, right? And you kind of go through a lot. It's not easy for an agent in that space.
Sure.
It's different. So what advice do you have for agents that are looking to, move a little bit more in that direction, work with investors more?
Just refer it to us.
Don't do
We'll
it.
handle it.
Bring us the deal. Yeah.
You want to start?
No, go with you.
I mean, interestingly enough, that's why we created this class that we teach. And the disappointing part of owning that company is how few agents see the opportunity. And so I know you guys experience that too, right?
Yeah.
It is a different business, and I think that real estate is so situational. It's really hard as an agent to just come in and expect there's a certain things that are going to happen every week, and you're going to have this steady paycheck. You have to make it happen.
Yeah.
And where we have never really been good is with lead generation, which really made what we do even that much more fulfilling, because we had our clientele.
Yeah.
We knew what they were looking for. We could go hunt and find it and negotiate it, put it together. And like Tammy said, you kind of create your own market. So if you're a traditional agent and you don't at least have the investor opportunity, it is a big fight, like you said, Suzanne. You're competing with a lot of other agents. There isn't a lot of transactional business, so it makes it a little bit more challenging and difficult, and it feels exhausting. But I think where we are in the cycle, if you can work your way through this as the market gets better, because it will, you're just going to shine that much more. It'll be worth it, right?
Yeah.
I do find it interesting, and I don't know what numbers you have, Paul, on this, but nationally, there was an increase in the investor activity in the single family space nationally, and it's going to creep to 35%.
Yep.
And so if I were a traditional agent, I would say a third of the business is investor. And if you're not working in that space, that's one of 3 deals that you are missing out on.
Right.
So I think what you guys bring to the table, what you offer, again, one of the reasons we came here is it's not only a great compliment to our business and shared values, huge opportunities. So shout out to you guys for doing this. It's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think the reason, well, thank you first. But the reason that a traditional real estate agent would not be able to make the transition is that it's inherently, I have a biased opinion because of the position that I'm in or what I've experienced, but it's actually not any different. But what it requires is a different action. And that action that you take on a daily basis can be uncomfortable.
Sure.
And so when you're in a traditional transaction where you're representing a buyer or a seller, there is a frictional negotiation as you get to the bottom line. But the friction in an investment grade transaction occurs earlier. So you have to be willing to have tough conversations with people right out of the gate versus at the finish table.
Yes.
And so if you're a traditional real estate agent that sold 100 homes for a happy emotional buyer or a sad emotional buyer, whatever,
Right.
and then you're going to make the transition into a knife fight on a daily basis to try to find a deal that actually pencils.
Yep.
That feels uncomfortable. There's much more rejection, fear, pressure, and that feels negative. My argument to that is that action creates action. And so I always give this analogy, like we're 96% water, right? Humans are. And if you take water and you look at the the way it's built, like a pool of water that's not moving and not getting banged around and sloshed around and whatever is going to either evaporate or it's going to slowly grow mold and become toxic. Water that's rushing down the Grand Canyon and slamming against the walls has air in it, and it's like it's in an actionable environment, and it creates life. And so to me, it's that analogy. If you're a real estate agent that's out there and you only want to represent a listing, and that's all you're up to, the actions that you have to take, you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable environment to go generate that lead or create that net result. If you're waiting, then you're dying.
Don't you feel, Paul, though, that having a good understanding of just the investor math would help you have those hard conversations with
100%.
sellers?
Yeah, 100%. And actually, those hard conversations, they're actually not hard once you understand them, to your point.
Right.
But it's uncomfortable to go and understand that if you've never done it before.
True.
People are afraid of what they don't know.
Right.
But I think that's every week we have this podcast. That's our cry to the whole world. It's like, you don't even have to do it with us, but just like consistently learning on a daily basis and consistently putting yourself in a position where you're a little bit uncomfortable and you're testing your boundaries is what's going to make you different.
Right.
And I think anybody could do that in a traditional world or an investment world. To your point, and obviously this comes across incredibly biased from my vantage point, but 30% of transactions for the next 20 years are going to go to an investor.
100%.
And that's not one transaction. If you treat it right, it's two.
Yep.
So if you spend all of your time as a real estate agent trying to find a listing from a traditional seller, and it's going to trade on market in a traditional way, you're going to get one deal. If you do a really great job, maybe it turns into two every 11 years.
Right.
And
In
that's
this
on
world,
the
it's-
same property. But
Right.
if you really do it right, you get not only the two transactions and you work the neighborhood and you do the reverse prospecting, you do the other things and work the buyers in the open houses.
Turn into five.
Should have 5. And by the way, real
100%.
quick, I'm 93% water, 3% bourbon.
There you go.
There we go. I just want to
where
make
does the beer fit
sure.
in?
It's like correction.
Just want to.
He graduated to bourbon
He doesn't
from beer.
drink beer anymore.
Oh, really? Of course.
Well, it depends on the beer, but
Yeah.
anyway.
I had, like, as you were telling the story, I had this image of, like, you were driving a dune buggy and you had, like, a bandana and there's, like, Coors Light next to you and you're showing deals.
Tammy mentioned stories. I was on the front page of the Lake Havasu City paper 13 times growing up.
Not in jail.
Oh, I've been in jail.
He's like, yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I've been in jail. I got arrested with Motley Crue once.
That's
With Motley
awesome.
Crue?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Well, we got to stop and hear
Well,
that.
that's it.
Can we hear that
Okay,
story?
so we get, because we always do a real estate
Yeah,
story,
we
but
got-
we need a personal story and a real estate story, apparently.
Oh, my
Well, we don't want to do
goodness.
that story right now. We just met.
That's incredible.
But yeah, it's,
Okay.
Havasu was a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's awesome.
But yeah, anyway, we don't want that image.
Okay, got it, got it.
There's no
We
such thing
erase?
as bad publicity.
Well, I
Good
get it.
point.
I get it. No, but we've had some fun things even in this space. One of these days we should do with the team. We have a great 45, 50-minute presentation on our experience getting to buy and remodel Ike and Tina Turner's first house that they ever bought in View Park.
Oh,
An amazing. I just said it and I get goosebumps. It's just,
Wow.
it's incredible what happened. So that was an amazing story.
I think that's the one. 'Cause,
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I do like Motley Crue more than
yeah.
but
We
sure.
We'll
We can-
talk
we can
about
hear that one offline.
exactly
Yeah.
that. We can turn the cameras off.
we could turn the cameras on. The Ike and Tina Turner. So we, represented several investor clients, and again, we love the opportunity to hunt. We saw the property. I think it was. I can't remember. Was it the Daily Breeze? It was a publication because it was a big thing in LA. Ike and Tina Turner's property hits the market, and I mean we know nothing other than the music. Like we don't know any of the story, right? So it hits the market. We get on the MLS and we're checking it out, and it was I don't know the right word, like a mausoleum or it was in the exact same condition with the exact same furnishings when Ike sold it in 1979.
Oh wow!
So this is 2016-ish.
Whoa.
So we got on the MLS, looked, and we happened to know the listing agent, Ken Conant. Give a shout out to Ken. We've known Ken for a while. Trust sale. They were going to do an open house, and of course, because it was publicized, I think he had 40 some offers. It was listed for, let's just say, $900,000. They had offers well over $1 million. But Tammy and I are pretty good, and we ended up getting it for $930,000 for our client.
Nice.
But that turned into this. What do we do with it?
Yeah, now that we have it, what do we do?
It's iconic. There's history. We don't really necessarily know the history. One of our designer friends has a producer, and he all of a sudden wants to do a documentary on it. And all these things were happening. And we also knew because of the history, it would probably be important to get some feedback from like the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So we did some door knocking, and we decided to do an open house to let people come see this property before we do anything to it, right? Mm-hmm. And we had over 1,100 people.
Wow.
It was unreal.
It was cray-cray.
Craig Turner showed up, her oldest boy.
Wow.
Took me into the room, his bedroom, that was still the same.
Oh my gosh.
That he used to get locked in.
Oh god.
And he cried. I mean, it's just like, again, I'm getting these goosebumps.
Yeah.
The same bed that she was raped in, all this crazy stuff was still there. Well, Ike and Tina Turner weren't the seller.
Right.
It was this trust, which turned into the gentleman who lived there was a predominant dentist in the area.
And he wanted to live in the house.
He just left it?
He bought the house from Ike Turner.
Wow.
Loved Ike Turner. Didn't change a thing. Turns out his ex-wife, because he ended up going into a home and she needed to come get personal items. She didn't know the story of Ike and Tina Turner, but she started to tell us her story with her husband.
And it was the same.
And it was the same.
Oh, no.
She was living, it was the craziest thing. And so, talking to the neighbors and just hearing all this stuff, it was like, this house has to be exercised somehow. Right? We talked long and hard.
Yeah.
There were neighbors that, were adamant that it got burned to the ground and, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
So then we decided to do a garage sale. Oh my goodness, that was.
They made their $900,000 back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People were fighting over the stupid bed.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, dude, nuts.
Yeah.
All right. So long story short, we ended up having this opportunity to balance keeping some of the original vibe of the house. It wasn't full mid-century modern, but it was close to that. We kept a lot of, the movie that they made, all those scenes and those photos were very iconic. So we left a lot of
that's cool.
the same stuff. And it ended up being ultimately a good experience. But never a real estate transaction like that, ever.
Yeah.
And
was very unique.
That's a new one.
And I hope I can say this. I don't mean to say this disrespectfully, but from a white boy moving from a small town in Arizona who had no cultural background, diversity whatsoever, moving to LA was probably one of the best things that could ever happen to me, to just understand all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
so it was a really, really good experience and eye-opening just for me personally, because I've never really got to see it from that level.
Yeah.
Right. You guys know what the nickname of View Park is?
No.
The Black Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
for
and
real.
Baldwin Hills.
For
Yeah.
real,
So,
yeah.
so going back, right? So in the 20s, when the film industry started moving out here, that's where Hollywood was.
Right.
And then they moved everyone to Hollywood, and we didn't know how that segregation and that's like, I was like crazy.
Yeah.
We did a deal in Westchester, and we still have a copy of the title, the prelim title, and it says on the prelim, if you're Black, Hispanic, Chinese, you can't own here.
No way.
Wow.
I have
In
it framed.
Westchester?
In
Yes,
Westchester.
in Westchester.
When was that
I
title
think
from?
women were even on there.
So that was like this,
Women?
yeah.
Women were on there
Whoa.
too,
So
right?
she couldn't go on the contract, which was fine.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We have a kind of similar story on a deal right now that we're bringing back to market. It's not anywhere.
Is it going to be the
that
O.J.
juicy.
Simpson glove?
No.
Oh, no.
With the glove.
No.
Okay, we told that story, right?
Yeah, we do have that
Okay,
one.
okay.
We have
That's like a good
this
one,
one's
though.
very much less interesting. But we bought a house in the Hollywood Hills from the oldest living Jewish woman in America last year. She passed away. She was 114.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, I read that. Yes.
We bought that house.
Yeah.
And we're in this argument right now, like today, because we're done with construction. And I wanted to leave one wall because she had this incredible stonework done. And she's like, she was in a bunch of newspaper articles as she was aging. And every time she was sitting in this chair in front of this beautiful stone wall around the fireplace. And our team's like, we got to take it out. Like, we have to leave it. And it's incredible.
It's iconic.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks
But there's
so cool.
there's value in that emotion.
Yeah.
So we left it.
You
I won
did.
that battle. But now I'm like, guys, we got to put a picture of her as like part of the staging.
Yeah, something so that
And they're
people
like,
know.
no, don't draw attention to it. So we're in that argument. So for our viewers, does that help sell a property if
Yeah.
there's some like fun, quirky history to it, or
Yeah.
does it hurt it?
Yeah.
That's the
That's
question.
like,
Good one.
do you guys know what a Bachelder fireplace is?
No.
So we learned this. We did a property.
Bachelder?
Bachelder fireplace. So he was a tile maker in either Pasadena or Altadena, up in that area,
Okay.
and he handmade ceramic tiles that you put around fireplaces back in the 20s.
Yes.
Oh.
I
And
have
so
seen
that's
that.
another
Marengo.
Example.
thing that we learned that you don't want to destroy that
Can't take
fireplace.
it out.
They're
Yeah.
all-
But you
each
can't
one's
really put a
unique.
price tag on it. It just
Yeah.
has that
Yep.
component that makes
Yeah.
it special.
Actually, I
that's-
have to tell the Marengo story quick.
Okay. Okay. And then we
love stories.
then we
And
need
we
a
really
part
need to
two.
go.
We bought a house in 2021 or 2022, and
This is a crazy.
it was in
Full circle.
Altadena.
Okay.
There was a mom and son that lived in the house. Daughter had moved away. Dad had passed away. Son goes crazy, stabs mom to death in the house during COVID. Then uncle comes over, stabs him in the front yard, and then kid goes into an insane asylum or whatever.
Okay.
Property sat for like a year. We ended up buying it, which was a whole nother story. Our project manager was like, I can't go in the house until we like get it
Yeah.
blessed and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Sage.
Blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so, but we had this argument, like, what do we do? Like, some of the neighbors were like, tear the house down. It's just, like, cursed and blah, 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 and
Yep.
whatever. What we decided to do was completely change the layout. So we, gutted it all the way to the studs. We obviously,
Right.
did everything new. Whatever.
Cleaned up, removed the bodies.
Yeah, we took the bodies out.
Okay.
We left one in the basement, but so we ended up selling the property. And then 12 months after we sold the property, the Altadena fire hits. House burned down.
Burned.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude.
To the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
So I think it was just meant to be.
It was
Meant
meant
to
to
be.
be.
That house was meant to burn down.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the death on property thing is, different for different folks.
Yeah.
You know, in
Sure.
New York, you don't have to disclose it.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah.
We had a property in Hacienda Heights that we purchased for one of our investors, and the person had died of natural causes on the property. And it was like 6 months prior to us purchasing it. Abraham got the property knocked out in like 3 months. Tammy's doing all the disclosures. So, like, full on, everybody knew someone
Yeah.
died of natural causes. So we go under contract with a buyer, and they send us our request for repair, and they wanted a $10,000 price reduction for the death on the property.
Whoa.
And Tammy was out of town, which not a good thing with me.
The hammer's coming in.
So I replied no, but we would remove the body. And they freaked out. Yeah, that's literally how I replied.
That's great.
Gotta have a sense of humor.
Anyway, I made my point.
Yeah.
I would have paid it.
Okay. Well, on that note, I
note.
feel like we could tell those stories. Those stories continue.
Yeah,
like I
sure.
think we all have
We
some
all
of
have
those.
more of those.
Yeah, we do.
And for agents watching, you have something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah, it's true. Well, thank you guys. I really do feel like we'll probably have to do a part 2 with you guys because I think there's still so much more to dig into. But for our listeners, so we're going to put all of your information. As Brandon mentioned, he has a training platform for if you want to get involved in the investor game. As we all said during this podcast, this is definitely the direction that you want to go. So yes, we'll post all your information, and thank you guys so much for
And
coming.
real quick,
you.
if you're an agent out there who really, really wants to broaden your horizons and experience some amazing things, reach out to Suzanne at Innovate.
Yes.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
very kind.
Thank you.
Two things.
Yes.
I want to acknowledge both of you. You have made more money with our lending platform than any other real estate agent.
I told them that
Wow.
today. Yeah, yeah.
We're just getting
started. Just sending over referrals. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really been able to flush that out in the last year or two. We've been very, very busy, but real estate agents are able to, because we're a private lender and it's business purpose, we're able to pay a broker fee. Like you can't do that in a traditional world, but we can do that. It's above board because we don't follow RESPA guidelines. And so, I just think, I guess that's a shameless plug for all of us, but it's an introductory into I think you guys, obviously, we're so honored to have you guys a part of our team because you're not, and what I really admire about what you both do is that you don't look at something in a traditional way. You kind of open up and you're very flexible, and you look at what makes the most sense in a transaction. And I don't necessarily see the hammer side. I haven't seen that yet, because it seems every deal that we've been a part of so far, even stressful ones, just seem cool, calm, and collect, and very logical, very, very intentional. And so, I would say the same thing about, if you're an agent in LA and you need to be on a team to learn, this is the spot.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much.
We're happy to have you guys.
We're happy to
Was
be
that
here.
2 things or 1?
That's 2.
Okay, good. All right.
He makes more money than everybody else.
Yeah, and join their team.
And join their team.
I don't know about that. We got some rock stars at Innovate. We're excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
That is a wrap from our first episode of 2026, of many episodes of 2026.
Yes.
And if it's not your favorite podcast yet, it should be.
Yeah.
Please hit the subscribe button. Share it with your friends. We'll see you next week.
See ya.